Hello, Mike here from Music Works Gym. Why do we call it Music Works? Because we lift to a different tune. Today we're here to talk to you about calves, which are probably the hardest thing to develop. Now, I don't have the hugest calves in the world, albeit probably the biggest in my family, but I was able to develop over an inch of calf muscle, which is realistically the hardest muscle to develop, in under a year by incorporating several different techniques which we want to talk about in this series. The first thing I want to talk to you about, though very important, is the fact that people don't do a wide variety enough of exercises for their calves. What they have this tendency of doing is either donkey calf raises or standing calf raises because they work the gastrocnemius, which is the more visible, wider, broccoli-like shaped muscle, as opposed to the soleus, which is one that's hidden underneath. Kind of like when we work on our arms, a lot of people don't work the brachialis, they're only working their biceps. But the muscles underneath it lift them up. So by developing the soleus, you're lifting up on the gastrocnemius, which actually makes your calves look a lot bigger. So the first exercise we want to discuss in particular is the seated calf raise. This one in particular is a bench that I designed. It's a little different than your standard bench. And it's a very simple concept, and honestly, this should be in every single one of your calf routines. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger, believe it or not, he exercised his calves 6 days a week. And now, for most of us, that's a little bit too much. He did have the use of mild steroids, true. I honestly say if you're going to develop your calves, you need to be developing them by doing at least 3 workouts a week, every other day, maybe an extra day off. 3. Our calves get so much work, so much use all day long in many different ways, from the pounding of going up and down stairs, running to the door, or just standing. So we use them in many different facets, from sustained pressure to maximum force to resisting. So if we really want to develop our calves right, we actually have to incorporate all of these different aspects into our calves, and that's what people don't do. Now let's just take the seated calf raise machine in particular. Okay, with mine, I have a string that pulls it. Now some people will say, go down, pause, go up, hold at the top, go down, pause, hold. There are many different ways of doing this. Now, I don't want to say none of them are wrong, because some of them are, but in particular, this is what the status quo is. I have found that not only doing them in that fashion, but doing them in different ways actually helps stimulate your muscles in different aspects. So you may be going heavy. Let's say you got a real heavy weight on there, and we're just doing simple straight motions where you're going down, and up. Or you may be going for something where you're going down and a pause, and you're getting a really good stretch, in which case we can use a lot lighter of a weight. Holding at the top, I like the bounce technique at the top. Some people say never bounce. I don't believe in much of a bounce at the bottom, because at that point in time your muscles are at their maximum tension and you really don't want to put additional strain on your ligaments at that point. But the top bounce, I love. Getting the full range of motion. Now when we get to the heavier weights, you tend to restrict your motion. So you're not going all the way down or all the way up, because you can't get that peak contraction at the top. So some people have the tendency of lightening their weights to get to that peak. I'm in a disagreement with that. There's a time and season for everything. So by adding the heavy weights and getting, yes, a lesser motion, it is not that you're working your calves less, but you're working them differently, which is extremely important. One day we have the lighter weight with the full motion, and then the next time we have the heavier weight with a slightly restricted motion. We're confusing our calves because one day they're pushing something hard and the next day they're doing something light while they're jogging. So hitting them from different angles with different weights, with different techniques is extremely vital. And we're going to get to that more in this series. But in particular, I want to make sure that you understand that the seated calf raise is an extremely vital exercise, even though you don't readily see the results. Now you can see actually my soleus on the sides or in the mirror there, it does develop it, and by doing that it does push the gastrocnemius up. So we've got either a full stretch up high with a lighter weight, or we can have a faster motion with a heavier weight where we don't reach the top. Incorporating many different styles, many different weights, many different routines while continually confusing the calves is one of the greatest ways of actually making them grow. And I have found extremely good results. And in our last section in this series, we're going to discuss those different routines because I've collected a lot from a lot of different people that have developed their calves extremely well, and they are worth listening to, they're worth trying, and incorporating these different techniques into your routine if you want to see maximum gain, maximum results. And of course, obviously you need your nutrition, water, and sleep. Those are always vital, but we don't have to go there. We don't have time for that. Trying to make this short and sweet. So this is episode 1 in our series, the seated calf raise machine. Make sure you incorporate this every time you're doing calves, even if you're doing the other things for your gastrocnemius. Always work your soleus. Try to do it 3 times a week, and I guarantee you will see results. Alrighty? This is Mike from Music Works. Jim, if you want to get in touch with us, email us at mike@musicworksstudio, musicworksstudio.com, mike@musicworksstudio.com. Hope your calves grow. Until the next episode, stay safe, exercise safe, and be healthy. Thank you.